And today we're reacting to Mexico just opened a new extreme prison for cartel members. Yo, that last El Salvador prison, I forgot what it was, bro. Whatever prison we saw where they had them locked up like sardines, toe up. That was crazy. That being said, man, let's go ahead and get into it. Plus, it's a Twitch man stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5 stream. Let's do it.
Decapitated, and they were playing basketball with his head.
Mexico just opened a new prison.
See, that's what I'm saying, man. That's what I be saying. Like, you know, my Chicanos, man. They got something else in their brain that make them do different stuff when they dedicated to the cause, boy. Hooping with the man's skull, huh? Okay.
And details about what is happening in there are extreme, from decapitations to taking the number 2 with no tissue paper right next to where you sleep. In this video, I have some of the most brutal details from this prison. Let us begin. Inside Mexico's most extreme prison, where hope goes to die. They call it the end of the road, but that's too generous. In Mexico, just miles from the US border, lies a prison so extreme, so psychologically destructive, that even convicted cartel assassins, men who've hacked enemies to pieces with chainsaws, have begged not to be sent there. A place where the walls do more than hold criminals, they erase them. Welcome to La Mesa, not a prison, a punishment.
Total anarchy.
Hey, I already get to stabbing, let's go.
The more corrupt, the better for me.
Behind bars is a struggle just to survive. And only the strongest will survive.
And now Mexico just took it a step further. A brand new ultra-isolation wing, exclusively for the
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 men in there. Oh, waiting, trying. Look, they got meals stacked on the ground. This how you living. Now, I'll say this, man. The people that do people the worst way, they deserve some of this, man. When you doing people the worst way, you gotta feel something, bro. You can't just end fast for you, bro. Not all the destruction that some people have tried. I'm not saying them. I'm never gonna disrespect the cartel. I'm too scared.
The most dangerous cartel bosses, men who once ruled cities, now locked in rooms no larger than a walk-in closet.
This is how I feel PDF files should be living, though. You know what I'm saying?
No visitors, no phone calls, no light, no escape. But here's the disturbing part. La Mesa didn't always look like this. In fact, it used to be called El Pueblito, or the Little Town. Why? Because inmates ran the show. We're talking shops, restaurants, even brothels, inside the prison. Cartels weren't just thriving, they were recruiting, killing, and conducting business right from their bunk beds. What changed? One man. Since 2014, director Cesar Daniel Ramirez Acevedo has ruled La Mesa with a level of control that would make North Korean wardens take notes. And under his watch, the Mexican government has quietly converted La Mesa into what is effectively a human filing cabinet. Stack them, isolate them, and erase the man before the sentence is even up. But why now? Why is Mexico doubling down with an even harsher supermax system for cartel inmates? Well, that's where this gets dark, because the answer might not just be about justice. It might be about revenge, or worse, control. But first, let's go back to where it all began. Tijuana, border city, Sin City, and one of the most dangerous places in the Western Hemisphere. Drug routes, illegal crossings, and cartel turf wars.
They do a real good job of scaring me from ever going to places, bro. The internet do a good job. I know sometimes you gotta say, man, that's just the internet, bro. You can't believe everything you see, but I know I say believe none of what you hear and half of what you see, but I'm believing, bro.
Have turned this party hotspot into a powder keg of death and desperation. And when things go wrong, they end up at La Mesa.
Tijuana, Mexico. Just over the US border. Weapons go to Mexico, drugs to the US. A battle that rages on with no end in sight.
At the center of this chaos sits the new ultra-restrictive wing of La Mesa, Section 6. The prisoners here aren't just dangerous, they're leaders, shot callers, men like Francisco, who once tortured rivals for sport. His new reality? A dark, airless concrete box with no soap, no toilet paper, and barely enough water to survive.
Commander Flores continues his hunt for rioters in Section 6. Their risk potential extremely high.
The air inside the isolation unit is described as suffocating. Mold spreads across the walls like cancer. Inmates are forbidden from even seeing the sun, some for months at a time. This isn't rehabilitation, it's something else entirely. It's a calculated system to break the inmate before the sentence ends. And if you think the guards are in control, think again. According to former hitmen who served time in prisons like these, the real power still lies with the cartel. Guards are often forced to look the other way, or else.
The ones that are in charge are the inmates and the cartel that runs the prison system. For every prison that there is a cartel behind it.
Let that sink in.
Wait, so if that's the case, if you like go to prison, but you're a part of the cartel that, or quote unquote, owns the prison, why you not just letting me out so I can get back to work? You know what I'm saying? There's work I need to do that's within the prison. What I gotta be in here for if you own the thing?
This isn't just a war on crime, this is a war within the walls, and the strategy is brutal. Inmates from rival cartels are forced to share space, just close enough to breed tension, but not close enough to resolve it. This results in an emotional and psychological standoff that rarely ends well. Cartel enemies side by side for years. No wonder La Mesa has had multiple full-scale riots. One insider describes a massacre where 14 inmates were slaughtered in a single night, and the main cartel boss beheaded. And yet, Mexico has decided this place needed to be even tougher. Why?
I ended up getting in maximum security, and the riot popped off right 2 weeks when I was in there. There was 14 people killed. The main boss was decapitated. And they were playing basketball with his head.
Some believe it's because cartel influence has outgrown the streets. They've corrupted police, politicians, even judges. So now, the government is retaliating the only way it can, by stripping their power inside these walls. But here's where it backfires. Inmates like Taylor Elliott Howard, who aren't cartel members.
I was about to say, this looks like a white man that got caught up in the wrong situation. For real?
Are thrown into the same hell. He didn't traffic drugs, he was accused of stealing a car, and now he's sentenced to 9 years in what...
Bro, I'll be sick to my stomach. He said accused of stealing a car. 9-year sentence. Whoa, wait. 9? Then y'all put me in with cartel bosses and people that go trying to chop off, peel skin back for car theft.
Many describe as psychological torture.
The living conditions here is terrible. I'm a combat veteran. I'm a United States Marine. I've served in the Iraqi War. I'm decorated. Over there, I'm a hero. Over here, I'm a villain.
And the isolation is
I ain't gonna lie, it would be hard to not just run up and try to grab one of these officers' guns if I could. Peel my whole wig back, I ain't gonna lie.
complete. American inmates say no one speaks English. There are no interpreters, no calls to family, no visits. They lock you up and throw away the key, Taylor says. He's not exaggerating.
Pretty much what they try to do here is they'll lock you up and throw away the key.
And if you're sick, good luck. Taylor claims that 9 inmates on his tier alone have died simply due to untreated illness. That's not hearsay. That's survival roulette. And this raises the question, is Mexico reforming its justice system, or is it hiding its failures behind thicker concrete? Later in this video, we'll explore the shocking transformation of La Mesa from a cartel-run village, complete with clubs and restaurants, to the lockdown fortress it is today. We'll show you footage from inside El Pueblito and introduce you to inmates like Dolores.
They got a TV sitting on a fan, bro. This is how you living. Why would you ever, bro? One, for the people that actually do get caught up doing crimes in different countries, why would you do that knowing how they will do you? One, unless you're in England or something. 2, this is making me want to stay on resorts and stuff like that. Like, I want to travel and experience stuff, but there's risk. There are risks. You know, I know it's probably a small chance that things like this happen, but the fact that there's a chance, period.
Or Sanchez, who lived in both versions of the prison and can't decide which was worse. Because what's more terrifying? A prison where inmates rule with guns and drugs, or one where the state rules with silence? The year was 2002, and what happened that year at La Mesa wasn't just a prison reform, it was a declaration of war. The Mexican government razed the old facility, bulldozed the makeshift shops, shut down the inmate-run nightclubs, and declared that from now on, the state state, not the cartels, would be in charge. But power doesn't vanish, it mutates, and in this case, it adapted to survive inside La Mesa's new blueprint: tightened surveillance, reduced yard time, inmate movement monitored down to the second. Commander Mario Antonio Mesa Flores, responsible for daily operations, knows this dance all too well. His day starts with searches for homemade weapons, drugs, even fans turned into heating coils.
This involves patrolling the prison and raiding cells.
We're mainly looking for weapons and substances like drugs and tobacco.
But make no mistake, the violence didn't leave La Mesa, it simply moved deeper underground. One inmate, Francisco, admits openly, "I used to have an amazing life. Money, family, women. But in here, you fight for water, you fight for air." He's not exaggerating. Inmates get access to showers and toilets for only a few hours each day. The rest of the time, it's just concrete and silence.
I used to have an amazing life with my family, my kids, my wife.
That's the one thing about prison is I know you be reminiscing about the small things, just being able to go to your pantry and get a bag of chips. I guess you could get chips here too, but they sitting in your box or however your situation is next to somebody's head.
A girlfriend. And I had plenty of money. Things were good. I didn't know what it was like to go hungry, as I could always afford to buy everything. Here in prison, you don't tend to get enough. And it's usually awful.
Then there's Dolores Sanchez. She's been inside since 1999, over 2 decades. Back then, she could walk freely, own a small business, even hire staff. Today, she's a prison nurse, delivering meds in Block 7. But the freedom she once had, the kind granted by cartel control, is gone. We used to be able to just open ourselves and go wherever we wanted. Now there are no drugs, no alcohol, and no corruption anymore. Sounds like...
Oh, they could take the... Oh, okay. So they crack down on that, on all the corruption. Yeah, I'd imagine as a prisoner. That's like when you were in school and your teacher, you used to be able to get away with a lot, but then one day your teacher come in because she's sick of all the nonsense, and now you got extra homework and y'all got to be quiet and no phones out. I see.
Progress, right? Except that the price of control is being paid in mental decay, medical neglect, and institutionalized hopelessness. Inmates are rarely allowed outside. When they are, it's a highly choreographed affair. Guards open one cell at a time. Inmates are marched, never together, always staggered. Rival gang members are never allowed to cross paths. This isn't just order, it's engineered paranoia.
The next group cannot be released until all of the inmates are in the stairway. This is how the guards keep the upper hand.
This elaborate ballet of control might reduce riots, but it comes at a cost. According to the guards, 2 hours of sun a week is a privilege. Most
2 hours of sunlight is a privilege a week, boy. Plan?
Inmates spend 23 to 24 hours per day in their cells every day for years. Even worse, the isolation is intentional. La Mesa's current structure ensures inmates interact with only a handful of other humans during their entire sentence. Think about that. You enter as a 22-year-old, you leave as a 35-year-old, and the only people you've spoken to are guards with batons and inmates who might slit your throat in the shower. The psychological damage is so severe, some inmates beg to be moved, not released, just moved to another facility. Take Abraham Chavez Orozco, arrested at 22 for drug trafficking. He's now 3 years into a 5-year sentence. His crime, smuggling narcotics. His punishment, 3 years without privacy, basic hygiene, or medical care.
I've had a foot infection in the past. The food is bad and unhygienic. And it's freaking hot.
His mother has pleaded with the authorities to transfer him somewhere else, somewhere safer, somewhere less psychologically ruinous. But in La Mesa, even hope is on lockdown. Because make no mistake, La Mesa is not just a prison for cartel killers. It's also a prison for poor people, for foreigners, for the unlucky, and for some, like Taylor, it's a coffin with a TV. The ultimate consequence is what the inmates call the hole. This is the isolation block.
I know they hole is. Ooh, I know the hole for them is probably like in a porta potty. Would y'all rather stay in this prison with all these criminals and all these people that possibly could lose your life, or stay in a construction worker porta potty for a month straight. Getting 1 hour of sun a day.
Dark, moldy, airless. Even the guards hesitate to enter. And if you think that's an exaggeration, think
in the prison, you stay there for 2 years.
Again, inmates here don't just suffer in silence, they rot.
Inmates vegetate in isolation for days on end. The cells are dominated by sweat, stagnant air, and an ever-increasing amount of mold on the walls.
There's no running water, no electricity, no human contact. Inmates don't know when they'll be allowed out. Sometimes it's weeks, other times, never. The worst part? You don't even need to be violent to get thrown in there. Forget to wash a dish, smuggle a cookie, or just talk back. That's enough.
Sheesh.
As the prison director once explained, I'm very proud. This prison used to be notorious. Now we have everything under control. Control. That's the real story here.
Yeah, we got everything under control. All we had to do was just strip everybody. It's mental. Treat them like a roach on the street. Step on them if we see.
Not reform, not rehabilitation, control.
Yeah.
Because what happens when you reduce a man to just a number?
I mean, but listen though, you saying this, not reform. Bro, do you think these people want to be reformed? They was just in the prison doing what they wanted. They're not stunting no reform.
And a cage. The answer is simple. You don't reduce violence, you manufacture it. Coming up next, we'll show you just how far this system goes and introduce you to a former Mexican hitman who reveals how the prison guards and cartels work together to keep the blood flowing. You'll also learn how some inmates get away with murder behind bars, how one prison riot ended with cartel members playing basketball with a decapitated head, and what it really means to be protected by the Mexican government. But most terrifying of all, we'll ask the question Mexico doesn't want to answer. What happens when the cartels are locked up and still more powerful than the government? Cartel bosses still run the show, even from solitary confinement. If you thought La Mesa was brutal, you haven't heard what happens when the prison walls aren't strong enough to contain the cartels. Because sometimes the prison doesn't control the criminal controls the prison. And if you're one of the guards standing in their way, well, then you'd better hope your family doesn't answer unknown numbers. In this section, we're diving deeper into the unseen war happening inside Mexico's most extreme prison. Not just between inmates and the state, but between cartels fighting for territory inside the very cells they're locked in. Let's rewind to a first-hand account from a former hitman. This man, raised between the US and Mexico, became a Sicario for both the Sinaloa cartel and La Familia Michoacana. He knew cartel warfare like most of us know traffic patterns, and his insight into the prison system, terrifying.
It's basically the same law that Pablo Escobar told the government. No, it's
A Colombian drug lord with an estimate. Oh, they're telling us about
plata o plomo, you know? It's money or lead, whichever one you want.
According to him, every prison in Mexico is run by a cartel. The guards, just props in a power play. You cooperate, you live, you resist, you disappear. And if you're a correctional officer who tries to do the right thing, you end up as a warning to others.
Oh yeah, nah, ain't no way. Nah, I'm playing by what are the rules of the prison? What do y'all want me to do? You want me to pop cell doors and stuff like that? Yeah, y'all not about to end my family, show up at my family door because y'all told me to pop this man's cell and I didn't do it because I was trying to do the right thing. Nah. I got a loving family at home, bruh. I gotta do what y'all need me to do.
Known a lot of inmates in Mexico that have been felons in the US. They tell me, over there, it's a 5-star hotel compared to where we're at now. Inside La Mesa, alliances are carved out of fear, and rivalries, they don't just simmer, they explode, like the now infamous riot described by that same hit.
What type of prison is this?
Man, 14 killed, 1 beheaded. His head used as a basketball. Guards stood outside the maximum security wing and did nothing. Why? Because the cartels told them not to enter.
And the riot popped off right 2 weeks when I was in there. There was 14 people killed. The main boss was decapitated.
And they said this already. Why are you playing this first again?
Justice systems, one written in law books, the other written in blood. That's why the Mexican government is so desperate to maintain order. Director Acevedo knows this. He's the architect of the new La Mesa, a system so tight that the most dangerous cartel members don't even see each other, let alone the guards. In Section 6, inmates from opposing gangs are deliberately scheduled at different yard times, and even then, it's only for 2 hours a week, at most. If someone breaks the rules, they vanish into solitary confinement. But don't confuse solitary with safe. One former inmate described these cells as coffins with mold. You sweat, you suffocate, and you don't know when you're getting out. Water trickles from rusted pipes. Food is minimal. Sometimes guards forget you exist.
All you can do is sit or stand up for a short amount of time. We're in total isolation, without any air.
Bro, people can endure a lot, bro. Like, I'm telling you, it'd have been hard to not be in solitary, just banging the back of my head. Just keep going until I can't get, like, and during that, I'm just envisioning the snot. He said that you can only sit and stand up for and you don't know when it's not like an hour, no. You be in here for days, bro.
Supply, apart from one small fan. They just leave us to rot away in here and shut the doors.
And still, despite all of that, the cartels managed to thrive. How? Through fear, through bribery, and through a network more efficient than the government itself. The former hitman admitted to interrogating other inmates with the permission of guards. He had access to phones, weapons, and classified information, all thanks to cartel influence. And what was his job in prison? Simple. Find out who's loyal and who's not. We would go in with the permission of the correctional officers, pull out smartphones, start interrogating inside of the prison. He described prisons where guards prostituted female inmates to make extra money, where inmates interrogated other inmates, and where the very lawyers defending cartel members were working for rival gangs, making sure their clients never got out. La Mesa, for all its structure and steel.
Whoa. Infiltrated from within. Talk about finesse, snake in the grass. He said lawyers for inmates working for other cartels, so that way to make sure that they never getting out of prison, doing all the things wrong. He's never getting out because I'm selling him.
Is still vulnerable to corruption. Even the inmates know it. That's why someone like Taylor Elliott Howard, a US Marine who found himself behind bars, feels completely abandoned. He doesn't speak Spanish. The guards don't speak English. There's no translator, and no one cares. In his words,
they don't try to have any interpreters or anything like that, so as far as us, we're in trouble. There's no help out there, really.
And that brings us to one of the most sinister elements of Mexico's new prison strategy: intentional psychological degradation. When you remove language, you remove power. When you remove sunlight, you remove time. And when you remove human contact, you remove identity. It's not about punishment anymore. It's about making you disappear before you're even dead. And that's exactly what happened in La Mesa before its 2002 reform. Back then, the prison was an open-air bazaar for cartel bosses who lived in luxury while poor inmates starved. There were fast food restaurants, bars, and even brothels run by inmates, guarded by no...
Oh, they were saying that all that was happening in the prison. Fast food. Brothels. Dang.
We used to have computers, we had restaurants, we all had good money. Then the riots came, and the dead started piling up. So the state responded by tearing it all down. But instead of fixing the system, they built a cage so tight, it crushes everyone inside it.
That's how we fixed it. That's how we fixed it. Y'all not living no better life than me on the inside when I'm on the outside. No, we fix it. What do you mean? We lock crack down so heavy that you're done. People out here having kids in prison. They wasn't playing. They was having real fun in here. Nah, can't have that. I'm the government. They having what? Wait. They in prison doing what? Shut all that down. It's over with. It's over with. I don't want nobody to have no door on their cell. I just want to cement everybody in. 4 people. And what we'll do is we'll leave a hatch at the top of their cell. Somebody will drop some food down, and it's up to them to fight for it. Other than that, ain't nothing to do with me.
Or not, and it gets worse. Medical neglect is rampant. Taylor revealed that 9 people on his tier died from untreated illness. Not the whole...
Okay, they're kind of circling back on stuff. All right, guys. 10 minutes of this video left. It sounds like they're just kind of playing the same things. But it was a fun, interesting video. That being said, y'all let me know what y'all think, bro. Like the video, sub up, comment up, bitch, for the channel. I appreciate y'all. Great for y'all, bro. We going, man. ADD led.